Once upon a time in Oniche town, there lived a man named Chike, a strong man who once made his living inside the boxing ring. He was known in the whole East as the Iron Fist of Onitsha. He had won matches both in Nigeria and outside. With his winnings, he built himself a small business, bought land, and was doing well. Chike had everything: money, respect, and peace, until love came knocking. One sunny afternoon, he met a beautiful woman named Amoka. Amoka was soft-spoken, with a smile that could melt any man's heart. They fell in love quickly, and within a year they were married. For the first year, their marriage was sweet like fresh palm wine. Chike believed he had found his true joy. But as time went on, cracks began to show. Small misunderstandings grew into big quarrels. Amoka no longer respected Chike, and soon she fell in love with another man in the town. She started treating Chike harshly, insulting him in front of people, and making his life bitter. At first, Chike held on, hoping things would change. But one day, after a serious quarrel, they both decided it was better to part ways peacefully. Their divorce shocked people, but Chike told himself that life must move on. Chike's younger sister, Ngozi, was his closest confidant. She stood by him through his failed marriage. One evening, Ngozi introduced Chike to her best friend, Adaeze. Adaeze was gentle and full of charm. She listened to Chike's stories, encouraged him, and slowly his heart began to heal. Before long, feelings grew between them. They started seeing each other secretly at first, but after 2 years, Chike proposed. Adaeze said yes, and they wedded in a grand ceremony. People were happy for Chike, believing he had finally found peace again. After their honeymoon, they returned home as husband and wife. But that was when true trouble began. Adaeze changed. She began to quarrel with Chike over little things. Soon, the quarrels turned to insults. Then came the unthinkable: she slapped Chike one night during an argument. Shocked, Chike kept calm. He was a boxer, yes, but he was never a violent man. He could not raise his hand against a woman. But Adaeze grew worse. Whenever they argued, she would hit him, then fall to the ground, screaming and scratching herself. She would run outside crying, "Help me. My husband is beating me." The neighbors believed her because of the bruises on her body. Soon, whispers filled the town: Chike, the boxer, is now a wife beater. Even Ngozi, his own sister, was convinced. She told her best friend Adaeze, "My brother is wicked. You should leave him before he kills you." But Adaeze, pretending, would shake her head and reply, "No, I love him too much. I will stay." Behind closed doors, Adaeze ruled the house like a lion. She slapped and punched Chike, daring him to retaliate, knowing he wouldn't, because if he touched her, he would be finished. For over 2 years, Chike lived like this, trapped and broken. One day, Ngozi was at the market when she ran into Amoka, Chike's first wife. They exchanged greetings, then Ngozi, out of anger, asked Amoka, "Tell me the truth, did my brother ever lay hands on you when you were married?" Amoka looked at her with surprise. "Chike beat me? Never. Your brother has many faults, but violence is not one of them. In fact, I used to wish he would show me small anger, but he never did." "Why are you asking?" Ngozi sighed heavily. She explained everything happening in Chike's new marriage, how Adaeze had been showing bruises and blaming her brother. Amoka was shocked. "This is serious. I know Chike. He is not a violent man." Before they parted, Amoka asked for Chike's number. Ngozi gave it to her. That same evening, Amoka called. "Chike, it's me. Amoka. Can we meet tomorrow? There are things I need to tell you." Chike was surprised but agreed. They chose a restaurant in town where they could sit and talk. Chike and Amoka met at the restaurant. At first, the air was heavy, but soon Chike opened up. He told her everything, how his new wife Adaeze had turned him into a shadow of himself, how he couldn't talk when she was talking, and how she was hitting herself to make him look like the abuser. Amoka was shocked, but she believed him. She looked into his eyes and said, "Chike, I believe you, because I once lived with you. During our marriage, I used to even wish you would hit me so I could have a reason to leave, but you never did. No matter how much trouble I caused, you never raised your hand. That's why I know you are telling the truth." Chike was surprised. "So you too noticed it?" She nodded. "Yes. And the only way people will believe you now is if you get evidence. Buy a camera, hide it in the house, and record her when she is showing her true colors. That's the only way." Chike agreed. They talked more, then went their separate ways. The next day, Chike planted a small camera secretly in the house. Hours later, Adaeze returned home, smiling and hugging him. "How was your day, my love?" she asked sweetly. But Chike shouted, "Why didn't you keep food for me before leaving the house?" Adaeze quickly apologized. "I'm sorry, I was busy. Let me cook now." Chike shook his head. "No. I will go out and eat." At once, Adaeze's tone changed. "If you step out of this house, you won't like what I will do." Chike looked at her and said calmly, "Do your worst." As he made to leave, she grabbed a side stool and hit him hard on the head. Chike fell to the floor and fainted. Adaeze panicked. "Chike, please wake up, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it." When he didn't move, she scratched and hit herself, creating fake bruises. Then she quickly called her mother, his mother, and even Ngozi, crying, "Chike tried to kill me. Please come now." Minutes later, Chike regained consciousness but kept quiet. His head hurt badly, but he sat down and waited. When the families arrived, they all shouted at him, "Chike, how can you beat a woman like this? Shame on you." Still, Chike said nothing. He waited until everyone was gathered, then he stood up slowly and said, "I am done with this marriage." Everyone was shocked. Adaeze shouted, "You will never find a woman like me. Who else will tolerate your wickedness?" Chike looked at her with calm eyes. "I don't care." Then he pulled out his phone and connected it to the TV. The video played, showing clearly how Adaeze had attacked him, how she had hit herself, and how she framed him. The room went silent. Then anger turned towards Adaeze. Her mother slapped her. Chike's mother and sister started crying, apologizing to Chike for never believing him. Adaeze fell to her knees, crying, "I'm sorry, Chike. Please forgive me. When I was young, I watched my father beat my mother every night. Since then, I vowed never to allow any man to control me. That's why I became like this. Please, I love you. Don't divorce me. I will change." But Chike shook his head. "What you need is therapy, not marriage. I will not live in chains anymore." Her begging fell on deaf ears. The marriage ended that same week. After finalizing the divorce, Chike invited Amoka for lunch to thank her. "Amoka, I owe you. If not for your advice, I would still be trapped." Amoka smiled. "I'm glad I could help. But now, what will you do next? Is there a chance for us to come back together?" Chike looked at her kindly. "No, Amoka. I'm not ready for another relationship. Right now, I just want peace, to focus on my mental health and my business. That is all." She nodded slowly. "I understand. Congratulations on your freedom once again." "Thank you," Chike replied, smiling for the first time in years. The end. Thank you some for watching, guys. Please like, share, comment and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification button so that you don't miss any of our videos. See you in the next one.